The fuck? The fuck was that? Wait. Huh? Wait. So wait, he seriously... Okay, I'm sorry. I'm live. Welcome to LeeLive. I was just about to talk about what I was going to talk about, but literally while I was going to bring up the video here or the specific subject matter and get started on talking about what I was going to talk about, this shows up on my YouTube feed. Super Mario Bros. Z Remastered. Oh, complete series. Did he complete it? Did he actually complete it? Damn. I might as well watch it. I mean, I was meaning to go ahead and watch some Super Mario Bros. Z anyway. I was thinking of watching it again anyway. We'll have to see if it's any good. Does it hold up? I don't know. Like, shit. This was my shit when I was like 10, okay? Wait a minute, 2007. Okay, half my current age, okay? Not quite 10, but, you know, long time ago. Like, I remember this being the most rad shit imaginable. Just unbelievable. Hopefully it's good, and hopefully the creator doesn't spurg out again. When it comes to, like, remember when the reboot came out like 4 years ago and he like immediately canceled it again? My assumption is that's going to happen again, but we'll have to see here. So yeah, welcome to LeeLive. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I thought we would do something a little bit different today. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. Something came up with the with my work schedule, with my actual writing career, and I was just like working on that for a couple of minutes. No big deal. It just part of the business. Sometimes I just cannot be on time. I was only like a minute late, so it's not a big deal. So I thought today that I would do something a little bit different, something a little bit speculative or like fun, right? Something. Let's stretch our creative muscles a bit and conceptualize a new video game. Now, what kind of new video game am I thinking of? What video game would I like to see? Now, I have lots of ideas. I have lots of course, I have lots of ideas, and typically my process when it comes to like my game ideas is that I just convert them into a novel. I've had like a couple of situations like that, and maybe this will happen as well. But one of the most surprising aspects of Fire Emblem Three Houses, other than Edelgard being a complete tool, the villain, this individual should not be trusted by anyone. The thing that surprised me most about Three Houses when it was first unveiled was the fact that it was basically a Harry Potter game where you play as the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Like, sure, the characters are all original. Sure, it's Fire Emblem gameplay. Sure, it has a completely different setting and plot, but I can't get over it. It is hilariously similar. So as a result, I was thinking, what would be the ideal crossover between Harry Potter and Fire Emblem? We already have our Fire Emblem and Persona crossover in Tokyo Mirage Sessions. What would a crossover between Harry Potter and Fire Emblem actually look like? I have several ideas. I have no clue exactly how Nintendo or J.K. Rowling would do it. Honestly, I'm kind of horrified that Joe hasn't already gone out and asked Nintendo to make a new Harry Potter game, because they nailed it with Three Houses. They really did hit it out of the park. It is very much the best Harry Potter game ever made, and it seems Joe would rather put out mediocre movies and awful plays than actually support the our favorite video game console, the only video game console. Nintendo always wins, as they say. So when it comes to this crossover, the one that Nintendo has complete control over and can do whatever they want with this Fire Emblem cross Harry Potter crossover, my assumption is that it is going to be very, very similar to Tokyo Mirage Sessions in the sense that it takes elements from Fire Emblem and simply transplants them into Harry Potter's world. We don't need Edelgard at Hogwarts trying to take it over and conquer the entire wizarding world. Oh, we don't need that. What we need is Harry to become a Fire Emblem protagonist. What we need is him actively recruiting his fellow Hogwarts students and going to war with Lord Voldemort. We need him to go out and do all of this stuff. We need the same kind of Fire Emblem structure that Harry is all alone in the world, and then he meets Hagrid, who takes him to Hogwarts School of Military Wizarding, Military Wizarding School, where he goes there and he meets Ron, who is descended from a long line of pure-blooded, red-headed warriors, and Hermione, an innocent, naive girl from the Muggle world who team up to fight the evil Slytherins and their agenda. And my idea, going by my description of this, is that it is basically the plot of Harry Potter, but with Fire Emblem mechanics. You make new friends. Now they can fight alongside you in battles and help you fight the Slytherins and get to the bottom of these situations. And it would have to be shifted around a lot, right? I imagine there's some sort of reason why the Slytherins will actively go against you and try to seriously hurt you and stuff like that, and you have to rally your forces and deal with them, right? Legitimately deal with them, fight Malfoy. Maybe it'll be something like a super serious sort of a schoolyard brawl sort of thing. I'm thinking Kill La Kill with its over the top fascist student government governing body. That's my impression of it. You would have Harry, using the sword of Gryffindor to fight back against Tom Marvolo Riddle, and have all these crazy things, possessions. You have the monsters, the basilisks, all of these aspects. So maybe you could maybe a big part of the early game would just be you dealing with monsters that are creatures that are living in and around Hogwarts, right? Becoming a master wizard, aging as you go through the game. I think that could be an interesting mechanic, actually having a built-in time skip mechanic, or instead of doing that stupid shit that Three Houses does with its week-long schedules or whatever, just have story bits where the characters get older and learn new, or achieve new abilities, and that implement that into the core game. Maybe Sirius Black has an entire gang of criminals who are coming to Hogwarts. Criminals who are coming to Hogwarts to try and kill Harry. I don't know why I'm trying to spoiler this, but the book is only 23 years old. Wait, when did it come out? Wait, it came out in 1999, right? I think it is 20 years old. Prisoner of Azkaban, original publication date. Yeah, I'm genuinely curious. Yeah, 1999. Okay, so 21 years ago. Were they all published in July? Hang on. I'm genuinely curious. Harry Potter book release dates. July, June, July. Did she seriously release them all in June? July or June? What's really bizarre. I mean, July is kind of an important month in Harry Potter lore because Harry and J.K. Rowling herself were born on July 31st. So that's interesting. I'm shocked they didn't keep the theme going with the June 21st. Okay, so let's see. 1997 for the original, 1999 for Prisoner of Azkaban. Wait. Yeah, 1998, 1999, 2000. Then you had to wait the 3 years for Order of the Phoenix. Man, she pumped out the first four really quickly. Wow. Yeah, what happened after that? I mean, I guess the books were longer, but ugh, what happened there? Yeah, my guess is that like they got published before the first one was the fourth one was finished, right? So I guess she just got that check and got like, this is why I am not writing longer novels at the moment because don't quite have the time to write them at the moment. Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. So yeah, Harry Potter, Three Houses, unbelievable. All right, so you would have to completely change everything about the core structure of the plot and the gameplay and the way magic works, and sort of like give it this Fire Emblem feel to it. Like add more to the sort of situations, right? Like maybe your entire army is with you when you confront Voldemort at the beginning, at the end of Sorcerer's Stone, or Philosopher's Stone, excuse me. I'm not an American. Philosopher's Stone. Maybe you could have to fight several basilisks at once. Like, there's so much you could theoretically do. Like, explore the castle. Like, actually experiment with different marriage options, which I'm sure plenty of people would appreciate. Like, Harry belongs with Cho. But anyway, am I the only person that still ships Harry and Cho Chang? Like, I have to be, because I think most people kind of were kind of fine with the idea of them breaking up, and I kind of am too. I think that's an important life lesson. But oof. Definitely. That definitely could have turned out better, Harry. Let's see. What happens if you turn in Cho Chang? Does she just pop up? Yep, she pops up. Not all that attractive. I swear she looks better now. She has to be like one of the very few Harry Potter actresses that I think looks better now than she did back then. From what I've seen of her anyway. I might be mistaken. Yeah, like shit. Like, Emma Watson looks like shit. Ivana Lynch looks like shit. Bonnie Wright looks like shit. Like, all of the actors have aged really, really poorly for the most part. But she seems fine. It must be the Asianness, I suppose. Those Asian genes coming through. Yeah. So Three Houses is a really great Harry Potter clone, and I guess theoretically we don't have to do this the hypothetical situation. We could have like a proper, a more traditional crossover when like you have characters from one world like going to another or sort of like intersecting in some way. Like I said, we could actually have Edelgard invading Hogwarts, and they have to go fight back against that, which is a ridiculous idea to think about. Like, I'm gonna conquer you, Harry, just like I'll conquer all of Fodland. It just, it's completely ridiculous. But again, it could work. It could be fun. It could be interesting, and I think that's all that really matters. Is that like they could come up with something fun. Definitely an interesting topic to think about. I would hope, but I hope that Harry Potter eventually makes a glorious return to Nintendo consoles. It really needs to happen. I'm not sure what Joe is doing. I'm not sure like if she's contacted Nintendo to create like a high quality Nintendo exclusive game. I don't know. Like, I am not really sure what's going on with that. That's my recommendation though, is like if you want something done well, go to Nintendo. They could come up with like something much better than I have just now. I was just like throwing out ideas, but like it could be radically different. So let's see here. All right, so I talked about what else was I going to talk about? I talked about Harry Potter and Fire Emblem and Super Mario Bros. Z, which I wasn't planning on talking about. Yeah. Oh, okay. So the PS2 failure. I don't even know where to start. Like the PS2 is like 20 years old or something like that. And it sure shows it. Like, man, I can talk all day about how, like, Super Nintendo games haven't aged at all, how NES games are classics, how they're, like, amazing Game Boy games, but the PS2, a console that's been out for 20 years, a younger console than all of those, is somehow a lot older and a lot less relevant. It's kind of amazing how people today still own their N64s, own their GameCubes, own their Wiis, own their Super Nintendos, still play them regularly, still talk about them regularly, still find new games, new classics regularly. It hasn't been that long since I last discovered a great Super Nintendo game, and yet the PS2 has been sitting in my drawer for the past 3 years, at least. It's been, I don't think, the last time I think I played it, or tried to play it, it was, playing Kingdom Hearts 2, and that was sometime in, like, 2012 or something like that, like, years and years and years ago. Like, I finished Final Fantasy X on it, that was great, but other than that, for an entire decade, almost, my PS2 hasn't really been played at all. It hasn't been taken out of storage. It hasn't been plugged in. I haven't even really thought about playing it a whole lot. It is just a relic of days gone by, of an age where Nintendo was about to go bankrupt at any given moment. Yeah, sure, nothing ever changes there. The PS2, it's a really bizarre console for a lot of reasons. I think the big one, the thing that sticks out to me most about it is that the fanboys, the PlayStation fans, will always point to it as being one of the best consoles ever made because, it sold the most. It's kind of interesting how there's no PS2 threads on 4chan. Nobody cares that this thing is nobody cares about this console anymore, and it really, really does show. It really, really does because so many people I know love the GameCube. So many people love the GameCube games. Melee, Super Smash Bros. Melee is still very much relevant. Luigi's Mansion got a sequel recently. Pikmin 4 has been talked about for years. There are so many amazing GameCube games that people have gone back to and played over and over and over again throughout the years. I myself am playing through a bunch of stuff right now. GameCube. Let's see, best Nintendo GameCube games. Yeah, we might as well have some footage playing in the background here while I talk about this.
Time crystals to destroy
Nintendo is just,
I mean, it's
I don't even know what this is. Like, I just randomly brought up this video and I can't even recognize it. Oh, is it Time Splitters? That would explain it. Yeah, Time Splitters is a classic, right? I don't own Time Splitters. I don't own, like, the Mario parties or a lot of this stuff. There's still quite a few great GameCube games that I've never played or know nothing about. Like Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg came up a while back. I've never played that. I remember playing a demo of it, and I would like to play it someday. It's on my list. I don't know why it is. I'm sure it's not going to be very good, going by Sega's track record here. But I would like to try it just for nostalgia purposes. By that logic, I need to get Shadow the Hedgehog too, but because I really wanted that game when it first came out. But the PS2, what does the PS2 have? Like, when you get right down to it, like when you get down to the nitty gritty, like the PS2 maybe has like 5 games worth playing. Like a big portion of those should have been easily available on other platforms, like Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy X, let's see, Godhead. All of those really should have been on GameCube and Xbox. And I think Silent Hill 2 was ported. I think Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was ported. I think like a lot of the really big relevant games were available on most platforms back then. Like Beyond Good and Evil was released for all of them. Well, Beyond Good and Evil is not a... I'm only bringing that up because it popped up. And I think Beyond Good and Evil is a super overrated game, by the way. I don't care for it at all. Honestly, I think I like Star Fox Adventures more than this. But anyway... I feel like the GameCube as a whole, in the actual gaming community, people who actually talk and play games, talk about and play a lot of games, the GameCube is way more fondly remembered. It has way stronger titles. It took way more risks. Like, just look at the launch lineup. You have shit like Pikmin, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Wave Race Blue Storm. Like, you have all this crazy stuff. Like, Pikmin alone, I think, is really showcases just how way over the bar Nintendo is. Like, when it comes to their quality, like, they always just completely come up with incredible, engaging, new video games from a wide variety of genres that, like, no one makes games like Nintendo. It's incredible how, like, games like Super Mario Sunshine still stick out today. How games like...
That was a joke, but still, it's a great game.
I keep bringing up all these games, but like, yeah, it's true as they pop up. But it's true, right? Sunshine has like the unique water mechanics. It has flood. It has great platforming. Like, Sunshine has its problems, to be sure, but as a whole, I think it stands still quite a bit higher than games like Devil May Cry or these early PS2 games. Like, most of these early PS2 games haven't aged at all. Have aged rather poorly, I should say. Meanwhile, people are, begging for GameCube games, begging for re-releases. How often have I complained about people overhyping the Thousand Year Door? But it is a game I legitimately like and appreciate. It is a legitimately amazing game, and I think that's when it comes right down to it, the only thing that made PS2 relevant was the DVD player. Like, that's it. That's the only reason people bought one, why people talked about it, why people were interested in this platform, why it did so well for so long, is that it was a DVD player for third world countries. It was available everywhere. People could go out and get it, and it could play some games that were available on other platforms. So it was appealing for that reason. I don't think the PS2 was a very good video game console as a whole, as we've established. Most of its major titles have been ported a long time ago. Metal Gear Solid 3 is available on 3DS. I probably should pick that up at some point. Shadow of the Colossus ported to PS3. In general,
do you remember when he actually made some half-decent games?
There are all these...
SSX3 is pretty much everything you could ever ask for when it comes to...
this is another game I never played. SSX, isn't it? I don't think this is 1080.
This is basically
1080 is...
game that you have to own.
I really love 1080. Yeah, it is SX. I've heard nothing but good things about this game. Maybe I should pick it up if it's coming on this list. I heard it was great. Oof. Yeah, Super Monkey Ball Like, there's all this shit that I would love to play on GameCube, and even back in the day, even back when I owned a PS2, like when I was expecting to find all these great new games on this new platform, like I mostly just found stuff that I could have easily gotten on GameCube, but there were very few exceptions to that. Like most everything in my PS2 library, I think, is easily available on Nintendo consoles at this point. There are a couple of exceptions. I think Shadow of the Colossus is the only one. The only one I don't expect to be ported soon, but for the most part, like, everything is readily available. I have like all the Resident Evil games. I have the best version of RE4 on Nintendo platforms. I have like, when you get right down to it, the PS2 really doesn't stand the test of time. It didn't remain relevant. It completely dropped the ball. It's not able to compete with what Nintendo did before and after. It's downright strange to
I am a clinical psychologist.
to look back on this thing, see how people hype up how much it sold, and then look at that lackluster library, that empty shelf full of games, like that shelf full of shit like Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, Devil May Cry 2, like, which is legitimately one of the worst games I've ever finished in my life. Like, all this crazy, terrible shit that doesn't really hold up.
Just play it and enjoy it.
The PS2 is really, I think the difference between Nintendo and PlayStation consoles, it's really evident, I think, in the modern era, where I'm constantly, all the time, seeing people discover old Nintendo games. Like, I see people, like, discover Ocarina, discover Donkey Kong Country, the Super Nintendo version of Chrono Trigger, all these, like, iconic, legitimately classic games, right? Like A Link to the Past, Super Metroid, like, those games are getting new fans all the time. I would be very surprised if plenty of people didn't become huge fans of Super Metroid because of its presence on Nintendo Switch Online, the SNES app. It's available on that app. Check that app out. It's amazing. Nintendo Switch Online is phenomenal. But people have always, never really stopped playing these great classic Nintendo games. Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario 64, Pikmin, Luigi's Mansion. Like, they keep gaining new fans every year, right? Like, new generations of fans. Just look how many people constantly get into Pokemon. It's phenomenal how they do that. PS2, what does the PS2 have? The PS2 doesn't have anything, really. Like, nothing. Like, it's so amazing, right? Like, who do you know who's begging for a sequel to Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper, even Shadow of the Colossus? Like, when you get right down to it, like, these PlayStation 2 games have no staying power. They have no real appeal. They are generic, they're uninspired, there's nothing about them that keeps people wanting more. It really does feel like they're only, much like today, they were only praised and hyped up by people who don't really know any better. There's no other way to put it. It really does feel like people were sort of memed into buying the PS2. Well, it's the most successful console and it's popular among adults, and I'm an adult, so I'm a mature gamer. I'll pick one up and play it, but there were so many times growing up when I would go to a friend's house or like go to somewhere I knew, and see their shelf of PS2 games, and it was always pathetic. Like, it was always like sports games, movie tie-ins, licensed shit. Like, you can even see it in PS2 games today. It's completely worthless when you get right down to it. When I was playing shit like Batten Kaido's Origins, I was playing like the Thousand Year Door, like I mentioned, Soul Calibur 2. I'm just throwing out games that are showing up on screen here, and I'm still discovering games today. Like I said, I don't own Super Monkey Ball. I don't own like what's that game? It's the RPG with the pirates. I want to say Arc Rise Fantasia, but that's not right. That's a Wii game from the Stella Glow guys.
Before I was instructed to put this in the list by my boss.
It's the one with pirates. Shit. It was a Dreamcast game. I can't believe Dreamcast game with pirates. Like, I can't believe I can't remember this.
Encourages you to be as reckless as possible. Whilst that might not be a good message to send to children, good lordy, is it fun?
Let's see. Skies of Arcadia. That's it. Okay. Skies of Arcadia. I've heard it's
makes this game unparalleled in its adrenaline.
I've heard that game is really, really good. Again, I would love to pick it up for GameCube. I believe it got a GameCube port. I might be mistaken on that. There are Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, like I said. I'm throwing out lots of Sega games, but you know what I mean. You know, like, there's all this stuff on GameCube that, like, I remember that I want to try out, that I might have liked when I first played it, and oh damn, that poster is rad as fuck. Super Zelda Land? Wow, okay. Oh, no! Okay, download. No, that is not a game that deserves any praise whatsoever. Yeah. Forget about it. Oh, that's more like it. RE4. I was thinking of streaming RE4, actually. I believe it's the 15th anniversary. Was a couple of weeks back, a month back. Great game. I would love to play it again. Maybe classic. That's my the PS2. What are the best PS2 games? Like, let's look at like best PS2 games of all time. Top 10. Oh, look at those paltry views. 40Ks. Yeah, nobody really cares. Top 100 PS2 games in 10 minutes, according to IGN. Oh, no! No! You cannot do this to me, IGN. Okay, God Hand should probably be in the top 5. Just throwing that out there. But IGN putting God Hand on their, like, top 100 games list is just laughable, considering how infamous that IGN review was. Okay, so let's see. God Hand, yeah, God Hand deserves it. Is that Kingdom Hearts? Yeah, that should be on GameCube. What's this? Manhunt should be on GameCube. I mean, Spider-Man 2 is on GameCube. It's not that great. SSX3, we were just talking about that. That's on GameCube. Spider-Man 2, super overrated game, by the way. It is essentially the Arkham City of the aughts. Yeah, Final Fantasy 12, shit. I own it on Switch. Baseball game, shit. The Masks of Kree, I don't know what that is. Do I have a complete list? Ratchet and Clank, shit. Splinter Cell, Chaos Theory, shit. It's also on GameCube. I own it on GameCube. X-Men Legends, shit. I never played. 2010? What? This came out on Wii, so that can't even really be considered a Psychonauts. Yeah, that's a good one. But that should be on GameCube as well. I don't know why it didn't come out on GameCube. Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance. I've heard that's good. I believe it's on Switch. Primal. Damn, these games look rough. Sly Cooper, Honor Among Thieves. No. No, definitely not. That's not good. Fatal Frame 2. Nintendo owns the IP now. So it should get a Switch version. It did get a Wii make. I'm not sure if it's good yet. Star Ocean, Need for Speed, Hyper Speed 2. So yeah, the games I know all have like... Okay, so the games that are PlayStation exclusive are shit, and everything that isn't is like has a GameCube port. That's kind of my point here. Jack and Dexter, Silent Hill 2, yeah, should have gotten a GameCube port. Rogue Galaxy, Twisted Metal Black, Gran Turismo 3, Suikoden 3. Okay, that's probably Odin Spear, Bully, oh, super overrated game. Devil May Cry, the absolute shit, like, complete shit. Ratchet and Clank, yeah. Jak 3, shit. Jak 3 higher than 1, bullshit. Wait, Dragon Quest 8 should have been on GameCube. Time Splitters 2 is on GameCube. Beautiful Joe is on GameCube. Wait, am I skipping through? No, that was 38. Okay. Okay, so Beautiful Joe is on GameCube. Amplitude. Don't even know what that is. Is that some kind of Guitar Hero ripoff? Grim Grimoire. Let's see. Beyond Good and Evil, GameCube, but it is super overrated. Dark Flag 2, just some generic Zelda clone. Let's see here. Black. Yeah, just compare this to like the GameCube list. Like the GameCube list is so much better. Let's see here. Soul Calibur 2, the best version of the game was on GameCube. Frequency, Sly Cooper. Yeah, Sly Cooper is not that good. Like, it's a couple of hours long. It's not that great. Final Fantasy X probably should be higher, but I'm a fan of that game. Should have been on GameCube. Pro Skater 3. Oh, okay. That was on GameCube. Katamari Damacy. Should have been on GameCube. Kind of an overrated game anyway. God of War. I still have to finish it. I actually don't know what my thoughts on this game are. Resident Evil 4. Yeah, better on GameCube for sure. Rez. I don't know what Rez is. Let's see. Devil May Cry 3. Shit. Like, complete bullshit. Ah, damn. I just beat Bayonetta on Infinite Climax. Did I mention that? Why, before I went live, I was playing Bayonetta, and that was why. Okay. Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, is on GameCube. I've heard it's really good, but, let's see. We'll see. Up Your Arsenal. Yeah, it's a Ratchet and Clank game, so it's shit. San Andreas. Shit. Oh, okay, not shit. I like San Andreas. Virtua Fighter 4. Who the fuck talks about a Virtua Fighter anymore? I'm surprised it's so high. Guitar Hero 2. Burnout 3. Yeah, does anybody remember any of these games? Like, really? Oh, no, definitely not. Oh, no, not that high. Number 1's going to be Snake Eater, isn't it? I can't imagine what's going to get it. Grand Theft Auto 3. Higher than San Andreas? Nonsense. Complete nonsense. Kingdom Hearts. Oh, yeah, that's well-deserved. Love Kingdom Hearts. So, yeah, like I said, there's a... Oh, no! Not Okami! No! No! Okami is not that good. Ico is not that good. Ugh. God of War 2. Higher than the original? I doubt the sequel is as good as the original. I can tell you that much. Vice City. Man, remember when they used to be able to pump out GTA games every other year? Oh, okay, so it's 2. Okay, what's number 1? Don't tell me it's gonna be something bullshit. Oh, Shadow of the Colossus. Oh yeah, that's not a bad choice. Yeah, so like I said, like 5 good games, like a God Hand, Shadow of the Colossus, Kingdom Hearts, Metal Gear Solid 3, and did I say Kingdom Hearts? Yeah, that's about it. Like the 5 games. There were plenty of games on that GameCube list that I think are way better than most of this shit. Like Spider-Man 2. Like, come on. Jak 3. Like, come on. Complete nonsense. Not a fan of the PS2. I love that you're always on V for these streams. Yeah, I always go on there to look for material to talk about certain happenings. Sometimes they'll always be up to date on like current situations for controversies. So yeah, I always do look on there. Chrono Trigger would also be cool on the online service. I definitely want that to happen. Chrono Trigger is something I think would be a very good entry on that point. But personally, I prefer the DS version. That's my take on it. The best PS2 games are the ones everyone ignored, like God Hand and Shin Megami Tensei 3. My I do agree with that. God Hand is definitely amazing. I'm a big fan of it, and I do support the game. SMT3 I haven't played, but I'll definitely keep an eye out for the re-release. I'm not sure. I need to play Shin Megami Tensei 4. Like, I own it on 3DS. It's on my shelf. I'm gonna get back to it. I'm gonna try and finish it, and then I'm gonna see if I'm interested in getting all the other Atlas 3DS games. I only hope they're not too hard to get a hold of by the time I do get around to it, because I do think I have a pretty hefty backlog there. I have like Bravely Default. I have like all this stuff. So we'll have to see. I could make an entire video, an entire hour-long stream going over all the games I need to beat. But yeah, Shin Megami Tensei 4 is on the list. I am going through it. But man, oof. So yeah, let's see here. So I talked about the PS2 and how it was a failure. Yeah, I think the Wii U has better games. I think every major Nintendo console has better games. And I think the PS1 had way better games. It's kind of surprising to me that more people don't really argue about this. It really, I think, really showcases how malleable the PlayStation audience actually is, because it's not about like playing all of the best and most interesting games on their favorite platform. It's entirely a popularity contest. When you get right down to it, the reason PlayStation fans are the way they are is because they want to be on the winning team. They're not necessarily interested in finding interesting, unique video games. And as a result, you see them always sort of
It took Japan-developed RPGs into the mainstream.
Hype up everything PlayStation does, while not really being critical of them. And what that means, I think, is that I don't think I've ever seen a PlayStation fan suggest that the PS1 is better than the PS2. It's so bizarre coming from like the Nintendo perspective, where it feels like everyone is always trying to pretend that a certain Nintendo console is better than the others, right? Like you have like your GameCube fans, you have your N64 fans, you have your Super Nintendo fans, you have like these people, right? Like old school NES fans. Like you always have this mindset that like certain Nintendo consoles are better than the others, right? Like some of them, they had better controllers, they had better features, they had better games. Like you hear all these arguments all the time, and it's really a matter of opinion when you get right down to it. It really is a matter of what you like. Like, I don't think, my opinion is that Wii is probably one of the strongest Nintendo consoles, but so many people will go out there and like try and pretend it was bad or terrible or awful when that's not really, well, on one hand, that's not really true, because it's a legitimately really good console, but on the other hand, they might just like, the N64 or GameCube more, and like the kind of games those consoles have. That's what a gamer does, is that they like find what they like and develop an opinion based on experiences with these different consoles, right? Like to their own preference. And yet, bizarrely, you don't really get this with PlayStation fans. When you get right down to it, every single time, the PS2 is the greatest console ever made. PS4 is amazing. You don't see people talk about the PS3 or the PS1. Like, you don't seriously see people
active time event for
have opinions, talk about niche games, talk about fringe games, like have crazy out there opinions, have their own cult favorite game. Like, you don't see people say, a lot of people other than me say that, like, you know, PlayStation got worse after the PS1. Like, the games on the PS1 are amazing. Like, it is my favorite PlayStation console. It has all this crazy stuff, like RPGs mainly, but plenty of good fighting games and stuff like that. There are a lot of things the PS1 did better than the PS2, and yet you don't hear anybody acknowledge that. It's so embarrassing. And I think when it comes to Final Fantasy VII, which is the reason I'm bringing this conversation up, Final Fantasy VII, I think, is a game that's appreciated for the wrong reasons. I think people...
Polyphony Digital owes a lot to the PlayStation
I think
1 era.
Final Fantasy VII is famous for all of the wrong reasons. It's not a popular, beloved game because it's a masterpiece, even though it is. It's essentially the game that sort of conceptualized how this third-party agenda against Nintendo is going to work, in which third parties will take a undisclosed sum of money from Sony to develop PlayStation exclusives and then refuse to put it on Nintendo hardware. And that's where we've been for the past several years. We're lucky to get ports, to be completely honest with you. We still don't have the first 6 Fire Emblem games, Final Fantasy games on Switch. First 6 Final Fantasy Fire Emblem games. What I'm talking about. We still don't have all the old Final Fantasies on Switch. Like, not all the old Dragon Quest. We have these developers making excuses why they can't put specific software on Switch. We're seeing all this shady shit, all this underhanded shit, like, just, and it all results in the same thing, in like Nintendo not getting major third-party releases. And Final Fantasy VII had a really high marketing budget behind it. It had like all this hype, all this attention, and I think people bought more into the hype and the marketing than they did the game itself. And there's lots of really strong indications for that. Like, it's been something I've noticed since I've become a fan of the game, but people completely misinterpret some major plot elements, like Cloud and Aeris's relationship. Aeris's name, I can't even begin to tell you how many people have seriously think her name was Aerith in the original release, when it wasn't. It was Aeris. Like, you can always tell an old school fan from a poser easily by just asking, what is the girl's name? Like, actual fans, people who played the game, will say Aeris, but because that's all they've, what they've always done. But the posers will say Aerith, like, because of like Kingdom Hearts and all this material that has nothing to do with the original game, like all this terrible spin-off material that didn't involve the original creators. Like, there's all...
Wipeout XL didn't stop there.
Final Fantasy VII. Oh man, I got it.
The ability to outright destroy opponents, with music by The Prodigy, The Chemical Brothers, and Fluke, along with a better frame rate and background effects.
Final Fantasy VII is, I think, kind of
Crash Bandicoot Warped. Naughty Dog's Crash Bandicoot series has always been hailed as incredibly solid, but Crash Bandicoot Warped is definitely its peak. Right away, things changed.
Let's see, I kind of lost my train of thought here. Maybe having a video playing in the background and watching it wasn't the best idea. I just keep like focusing on that. Like, I want to play some video games. Final Fantasy VII, I think, is a complete famous for the wrong reasons. I think people sort of latched onto it in order to hype up the PlayStation, and people didn't really seriously think about, were the old games better? Like, was this console shift really necessary? People Do I like RPGs even? Because I've heard so many people say that they were hyped for Final Fantasy VII, loved Final Fantasy VII, and then never played a Final Fantasy game again. It just that's not normal behavior. It just feels like a lot of people who are fans of this game sort of are bandwagon fans. They jumped on because of the marketing and because of the
graphics were leaps and bounds above
and because of the hype, and not because they actually wanted to play the new Final Fantasy game, which is a shame because Final Fantasy VII is a legitimately great game. I love it a lot. I greatly appreciate it, and I wish it was more popular. There's no other way around it. Final Fantasy VII is not a truly popular video game because it's popular in that Overwatch sense, where a bunch of people who don't play video games are hype it up for certain reasons in order to push a certain agenda. In Final Fantasy VII's case, it was to market the PlayStation over the N64 as the mature console for mature gamers. Once you
this was a stealth espionage title.
Look past it. Once you understand how this sort of thing plays out, you do start to see through it a little bit. You do start to realize that the whole PlayStation-ness, a lot of these bandwagon fanboys aren't to be taken seriously, and that's. I'm definitely going to talk about. I wanted to talk about the core Final Fantasy VII game. Actually, I wanted to do that today, but that's going to have to wait till tomorrow because I actually do have to get going. Something has come up. Let's see. The way you describe Final Fantasy VII fans makes them sound like Persona 5 fans. Yes, I have noticed a lot of the same behaviors from Persona 5 fans. Have you noticed the weird, obsessive way in which Persona 5 fans rail against the idea of Persona 5 being on Switch, even though there's really no reason for that not to happen? It's interesting. These people have an obsessive hatred of Nintendo and don't want their developers to develop on Nintendo hardware for any reason. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. I will see you all later. Please check out my books. Please comment, subscribe. I will see you all tomorrow. We'll probably talk more about Final Fantasy VII then, and I will see you